Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is Paramay Trades. This is Paramay's Trade Journal. So we're just going to take a quick look, keep the ball rolling this week. I did a couple of videos just prior to this. I think on the S&P, we did a Friday roundup. I think we were looking at live cattle again, but I'm not sure. If you haven't checked out the Friday roundup, pretty good video this week. I think the previous week was probably a little bit better. Markets are in quote-unquote turmoil today. S&P came to a halt as soon as the market opened last night, Sunday. And here we are Monday. S&P gap down, and we're looking at the dollar and we're looking at the Japanese yen because that's what we're playing this week. So let's just take a look at the Japanese yen, where we could have gotten into a trade, and what our expectations are moving forward. Let me just do something real quick here. Pardon me. Sorry this is taking so long. Oh, we are good. We are good here. So let's just look at the Japanese yen here. So I got three charts. I always look at three different charts here. Weekly, daily. I got my lower time frames, and I got my intermediate time frames, something like the 4 hour or something like that. I really spend a lot of time on the lower time frames here on the 15-minute chart, 15 and the 5. So it's not completely accurate that I've only got these three charts that I pay attention to, but I've also got three other charts. We got 5 total, right? Sometimes I like to take a look at a weekly, just stripped down by itself with a 52-week moving average. I've got another that's a seasonal chart that's strictly just seasonal. I've got these 3 charts ahead of me, and then I've got a trader window to the right. But for the purpose of this video, we're just going to look at these 3 here. Just going to look at these 3. I'm going to touch base on commitment of traders. I think I had the weekly on here because I was looking at something else, but let's just look at the daily and the 1 year. Let's look at the 1 year daily chart. Commitment of traders. Something we pay attention to quite frequently here. What do we have on the commitment of traders? Lo and behold, purple line is our 6-month index. Green line is our 3-year index. So commitment of traders, we pulled that report from bar charts. If you've been following along in any of these videos, this is the brainchild of Larry Williams. We're following a few books of his, and some literature of his. Trade Stocks and Commodities with the Insiders, Secrets of the COT Report. So we're looking at commercial interest here, and we're hoping that they can be our leading indicator here as to where the market sentiment is going to go. So at this point on the 6-month index, we broke the 80% range. So the 80% range is an extreme positive outlook. So it's not to say that we didn't have a really good outlook by the commitment of traders previously. Maybe did they know something that we didn't know? I don't know. But we had a quite consistent positive outlook by the commitment of traders on a couple of different legs here. I mean, this is back in October, right, where they were extremely bearish. So the optimism looked good up here, but then it started to taper off, and our net short contracts on the 3-year index broke into extreme territory down here. So they broke into extreme negative outlook territory August of last year. What happened to the market? What happened to price action? Did these guys, were they on the right side of the trade? It looks like it. So as price traveled up here, they get less and less optimistic about being net long up in this area, right at this extreme. And for us, this is an indicator that, and for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, they were not holding a very positive outlook on the Japanese yen. Now as price starts to decrease here, they start to get a little bit more optimistic about this. Didn't quite break that 80 range that we want to see, that 80 on the index, but they're setting new highs up in here. Just about broke it here, just about broke it here. They're right up against the ceiling of what we would, term extreme. We love it when they come up over the 80 line. That's a pretty good signal. Now, the 6-month index is a little bit more responsive. And that's for us intraday traders here. So they're breaking really bullish in this area. Really bullish in this area during this week of trading. And we know with market sentiment the way that it is lately, that these guys have been all over this chart, it feels like. They've been on the right side of the trade, so this is why we use them as a leading indicator. Does it always work out that way? No, not always, but. So now what we got is, on the 3-year index, we're below 20 here. And the 6-month index looked like a lot of profit taking by, we're down here at 28%. So it looked like a lot of profit taking going on in just this previous week of trading by the commitment of traders. So where does that leave us now, at least on the larger time frames? Well, we've got quite a pivot going on up in here, right? So we reached up to this high. We've got the swing high, right? And is it any strange coincidence that the data that we got previously shows that they dropped from 78% on the 6-month index all the way down to 28%. So they're holding net short contracts down here, right? So where does this leave us at at an intraday look on JPY? So let's just take a look at the 4-hour. No, the 4-hour is not something I pay attention to that often. Especially if you're looking for scalp plays, But let's look at it all the same. So we've got this nice descending high pattern that it seems to be somewhat respecting. Now we're getting a little bit of build up here for a break. I think one thing that we do need to pay attention to on this commodity is, and do I have it here? I don't. Is a comparison tool. I do have it in the other charts. I'm going to bounce back and forth between the live account here and the paper trade account. More of my charts are on the paper trade account than they are on the live account. Don't ask me why. I spend more time here. Probably because I don't want to overtrade. So, you monitor on your paper trade account. You take some trades that maybe you wouldn't trade, or some contrarian plays, and you just try, Ah, so there it is. Okay. All right, there it is. There's a dollar index. That's something we've been watching and paying attention to. Right? So, is there an inverse relationship here between the dollar and the Japanese yen? Some may argue the case for it, that there is, a pretty decent inverse correlation going on here, or inverse relationship. So the dollar index plummets, the Japanese yen is on its way up. And we can look at this, right? I mean, this looks pretty. This looks pretty. So if you're watching the dollar, and now we're coming right into this kind of coiled up kind of look between which way are we going here? Which way are we going? So you've got, I've been monitoring the dollar with this comparison tool quite consistently with the Euro FX and the Japanese yen. Is it pronounced yuan? Yen? I have no idea. I hear different things. So that's good and tight, right? This is good and tight. What is it trying to do? Is it trying to find support here? I mean, we're just coming into that crisscross here of dollar index and the responsiveness of the dollar index to the Japanese. Let's just clear these out, right? So we know what that looks like. Let's just clear the clutter off the chart here. So here's your 4 hour, right? Here's your range high on your 4 hour. Here's your range low. This is pretty, this looked pretty good. Didn't even need to sweep the lows. Swept the highs here, though. Highs were swept and it kept going. That's nice, right? Let's put this here to see if this has anything to do with anything, right? Here's your high or low pattern working for you, aka your trend line. Is this useful? Is this helpful? I think a lot of people scoff at trend lines, but I don't know that you blindly would make purchases or sell decisions based on this, but if you're watching that line and you're watching for a breakdown or a breakup or a bounce play off of it, there was your rejection right there for a short position. Was it helpful? It looked pretty helpful. So they try to gain support on this. I mean, they found it for 2 candles on the 4 hour, but it looks like it's rejecting it again. So what are we going to get here? Look at this nice bow tie look. What's up? What are we going to get on? Again, I think a lot depends on what the U.S. dollar is doing. And we know the market's kind of turning down right now. I mean, there's a lot of fear in the market. S&P is getting crushed right now. So let's look at the lower time frames to see if there's anything that's, on the 4 hour there, there was your long term or your, there's your short opportunity there. On your 4 hour, are we getting a pivot here, a swing pivot? We come down, find another pivot here, and then, challenge that, or is this gonna dump off? We could find some support against this high pivot, but not before it breached it back down into this range. 4 hour, not my best chart on the 4 hour, but I do like the 15-minute chart and the 5 minutes. So the 5 minutes to my right here, on my trade desk, and I like to find these ranges on the 15-minute chart. Being an intraday trader, being a scalper, maybe somewhat of a swing trader, but you don't really trade. I don't really hold for that long. I'm not really holding for more than a week at a time. So we got what I think is, a 15-minute range high and a 15-minute range low. And I love drawing boxes because it just gives me something, gives me some context. Gives me something to, place this against price action. Where is it going? So we range high here, we range low here, and we come up and we sweep the highs. Now we're gonna get a continuation. We had a really nice pattern working for us here. I like these moves. I do. For bullish sentiment here. So, we've got this. Obviously it gapped up, but we had this nice W pattern working on the 15-minute, and I think we took a look at this previously and decided that we were buyers down here, and there was a reason for that. And I've got it listed over in the Discord here, so let me just see. Looks like I'm not able to get on Discord right now. Isn't that interesting? Let's see if we can fire it back up here. Because that would be horrible if we couldn't get connected. Anyway, we don't have to prove this point, right? So we were looking for this. We were looking for this swing pivot here. We were looking for this short-term low. And it made out. We made out really well with this. We made out really well with this. You know, we like these. We like this pattern here. I like the way this pattern emerged. And I like this swing. You know, we had a higher low here, a lower low, and in anticipation of a higher low here, we took the contrarian position here. So we could have waited, and we already blasted through this high, right? So there was a lot of liquidity there, and that liquidity was taken. You know, both these internal local highs were taken out. Was this one taken out too? Yeah, it doesn't look like much, but that's a pivot there. So we had this nice pattern. A lot of people call these like inverse head and shoulders. I mean, whatever you want to call it. I mean, this is just a nice short-term low. And away we went. So we made some good money here. We made some good money here on this bounce, on this play, because I really think that you come back in and get this technical test here was another opportunity, another buyer opportunity. We, on the other hand, thought that this was a nice area with a stop below this higher low here. We could have got it taken out pretty quickly, but we thought we had this range. We thought we had this nice look at this range right here, at this 15-minute range. So we took a position. We went long on it. So now where does this leave us now? I don't know if this is a great pivot. This is a little bit better, right? We come up, price action comes up, market takes out this high. Sweep this high. And I mean, what do we have here? I mean, do we have a nice... Are we going to pivot again? But it looks like it's going to come to blows here. Is this EMA going to move up? Are we going to pinch, or is the downtrend or the bear is going to strike here? We come down and test lower. Maybe come down and sweep the highs here. I think a lot depends on the dollar. If the dollar remains a little bit weak on today's chart, then maybe it's worth looking at the dollar index here to see where it's going. Ooh, huh? I mean, look at that. Are we getting a nice distribution top up here? That would suggest that the dollar is probably going to meet some bearish resistance. I don't like that this didn't take out this high. The swing high did not get taken out. We are right up against this ascending higher low pattern. Oh wow! I guess Discord is just totally messed. Well, I'm able to log in from a different account. Why can't I log in on my main account? Looks, it's pretty slow too, huh? We'll have to figure that one out later. But you know what? I've got a secondary account that we can look at here. So let's just look at. Let's just pull up. I just want to pull something up here that showed us, getting into this trade here, and how powerful I think the swing pivots, really were. So this is, this is Japanese. We were looking at this, previously, waiting for a break. This is on the 1 hour, but we drilled down on the 15-minute, and we saw something really nice. I mean, that's why we took that position, and away we went. So back to the dollar here. So we get a swing high, and what we get, I think, is, you know, a 15 on the 15-minute chart, the range low here. And it looks like it swept it, and then we just took off. So we're back in this range, this trading range again. We've got this ascending higher low pattern, you know, working with us. We didn't come down and really, you know, touch this just yet, but I don't like that this high wasn't taken out. I mean, is this suggesting that we've got a nice distribution pattern going on here on the dollar? And are we going to see some downside? We saw that eventually the euro broke down, and we saw eventually that the Japanese yen broke down too. But if we get a breakdown here on the dollar, the euro FX and the Japanese yen are going to be, there's going to be good buy opportunities here. And we've been on quite a tear, quite a bounce up from 94.6 on the dollar. What are we going to get here? What are we going to get? Or is this going to keep tearing to the upside? So I think this is one we've got to watch. We've definitely got to watch for a topping pattern on the dollar. I'm going to watch this index. If this decides to, you know, to turn down here, this could be good news for anybody who's looking to go long on the Japanese yen. So what do we got? What do we got here? You know, that's not very helpful. You know, these things can only be helpful to kind of point in the right direction, I believe, of market sentiment. Our commercial interest, on the other hand, is not very optimistic about the Japanese yen. But, you know, where are they on the dollar index? I did do commitment of traders for the dollar index. I don't have a chart for this one. I'm just going to create one real quick. It must be on the other. Must be on the other account here. Great. So we got a nice free chart here, so we can look at comms, and comms are pretty bullish on the dollar right now. At least they were last week. So, you know, Friday's report came out, and this is what we're looking at. They're pretty optimistic here. Pretty optimistic, at least in the context of last week. 3-year index. This is a different color. Sorry. We'll fix this later. But what do we have here? What do we have here? WPR reaching up, extending up into that oversold, you know, territory. And we were overextended for a while up in this area, right? And then comms were not as optimistic on the 6-month index here, so they dropped considerably. You know, up from almost 100%. So they set new highs here on the dollar index. They set new highs right in this area for a number of weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So right in this area, they're getting bullish. You say bullish, but they're holding a positive outlook. Either way, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter much. Here you are, extreme, up in the extremes. We broke this 80% range, you know, back in here. Is that about right? Yeah. So, you know, here it is, breaking into extreme territory, holding extreme territory for a handful of weeks, and what happened to price here? Seems like these guys were on the right side of the trade. Seems like they might have known something that the rest of us didn't. I don't think they like losing money. I don't think big money likes losing money. So then they start breaking down here. They started, you know, getting that short. So we're done with up over 80, extreme territory, and we're down 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Were they on the right side of the trade here? Seems like it. Seems like it. Were they on the right side of the trade when they getting positive here and optimistic? Well, it was only a 1-week hike, but I mean, 1, 2, 3, you know, 3-week hike. Well, a lot of things have changed recently. in the market with all the with all the fear going on here. So we're gonna watch the dollar index here. I mean, maybe they're not done here. Maybe they're not done at all. Fed just injected a bunch of money. What's the impact on the dollar going to be? I think you gotta pull up your news outlets and find out, or maybe your educational resources, if you will, and find out the impact on the Fed rate cut and the dollar. Because well, that's not my expertise here, but this is what we're using. So I am doing a little bit of background on it. Maybe doing a little bit of research. I don't quite fully understand it yet or the implications, but I'm going to follow the movements of the dollar index in comparison to the Euro FX, and then see what we got. See if we can be on the right side of the trade, like these guys, because they appear to be on the right side of the trade. So the 6-month index worked out pretty, to our advantage here. I mean, good God, if you recognize this and you went long, you got, here's your range low, here's your range high. Sweep of the lows, and away we go. I'll swap the lows and bang. So approaching that oversold territory, but not quite there yet. It can rip. We can stay up here on the WPR, on the strength index here, and just keep ripping, and just wait for a dip here, and then if it's going to keep going, and we're going to get good data out of commitment of traders this weekend, on Friday, and they're still holding optimistic here. What do we have in the daily? Do we have a pivot to work with? Not quite yet. So it did push higher. So we have to wait for another day to see where this thing may go. Will it retrace a little bit? I'm not big on on fib, but where's your, I don't know. Whatever you like here. I mean, you like the fib extension, or you can use that and do whatever. Where are we now? Well, a lot of people would say that use an extension. 100% range is not a bad place to take profits. So that worked out for you. Oh, yeah, it did. It still did. Even when I've got the rate pivots here. Yeah. Here's your 100% range, right? Can it keep going? Yeah, sure. This can keep going. And if this keeps going, we get some hike on this, that's a nice gap up, right? Well, because we opened here, right? We closed here, we opened here. That was a nice gap up. Does that show on the chart? It looked like a gap up. The paper trading count, I think, has something wrong with it daily. It's not quite. So this says 98.072. It's not okay. Well, so that's at least working. Still looking at the dollar index here. And I know this was in the Japanese, but this is important. We got to look for a break up or a break down here, because the implications for the Japanese are obviously impactful. So and maybe one of you guys can tell me why this does this on. We'll see if it does it here. It always rearranges my darn chart. As soon as I open it, it shifts to the left, shifts to the right. I have no idea why. I know I have the keep axis, or time axis. I think keep time zoom, and price. I think there's the same option in here too. But anyways, so we're gonna come to blows here just before the market reopens, which would be for the Asian markets. Asian market here. Where's the Asian market going to take it? I don't know. Or are we going to get a nice, at least on the 15-minute chart, are we going to get this, this pressure or this buildup, and is this thing going to pop? That would be nice, we got this competing swing high or short-term high pattern. Come up and take out this swing high, and I think, you know, on your way up. But again, watch the dollar. We've got to watch the dollar. All right, that's what I'm gonna say about Japanese yen. You know, I'm waiting for a good setup here. I'm waiting for the market to show me a little bit more like it did, you know, back here. You know, with this technical test, with this potential for a swing. Oh, we just got this competing swing here, and I just don't know, with the way the dollar is, if this is, you know, you can even consider. It's there. It's there. So you get two cases here for. We did take the liquidity here. We did take the liquidity. So we got some downside maybe. I did find support in this area. Where is this support coming from? It's just a little area right here, right? I like this. You press Control and you can get a different arrow here. Oh, it's just the little things. So, you know. This nice area seems to be acting as support. Will it break down? I don't know. Are we breaking? We're offsetting the momentum here. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. What's the target? What's the target? Your target range is up here, I would think. There's some liquidity up in there. Right up in this area, which is where it's, you know, competing against right now. This is where the challenge is. In this little range high, range low area. So there's your. Ooh, is that your range? That's your range high. There's your range low, right? Let's get a different color on this so that we can. So I usually use red there, but I usually use like a pinkish color for ranges. Well, just here's a different range. This is what I like to do. So, you know, a 15-minute, I like to just find these ranges that it was working with for a little while, where there's this either one accumulation or distribution, and in the case of this was distribution, right? They got a nice bounce. We sold off. You know, same thing here. Same thing in this area, right? A little bit of, you know, range high, range low, and then we get this distribution breakdown. So small ranges beget large ranges, like, you know, like Larry Williams says. Small ranges beget large ranges. Small ranges beget large ranges. So a little bit of retrace action going on here. Not a huge fan of fibs. I mean, not a big fan. Not a big fan. Let's just draw it just for all you fib folks out there. Where are we? Up over the 75% retrace, right? So I don't know. I have no idea. You know, off your pivot high to your pivot low. There is that, right? Well, I don't know. Yeah. If you like those fibs. We're going to break one way or another. I think we are going to break one way or another here. And you're saying, yeah, well, of course it's going to break one way or another. Yeah. Well, it could go sideways too, right? Could do a little sideways build up at the top of this range and then pop. Oh. Dollar index. Dollar index. Okay, this video is getting a little too long. These are my thoughts, because this is my journal, right? On, you know, these are my thoughts on JBY. Come up, take that liquidity. Come up and get those, huh? That's it. That's all I got to say about it. Waiting for a good setup. Waiting for the market to reveal a little bit more to see if this pivot is going to send this thing down a little ways, and we'll watch the dollar index, because then that'll do one of two things. It'll help validate this this pattern that we have working for us. Well, what else did I not like about this? You know what made me think that this was more appealing as a bearish chart, at least in the short term? So we get this nice W pattern working for us, right? What do we have on the opposite end? We've got the bear's got this nice M pattern working for him. This, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, from what I've read and just going through the experience on the chart, is that these are a little bit more favorable for bears. Can they capitalize on it though? Don't know. I think so. I think they could. I think they definitely could. Well, a little known secret is I'm short here. I'm short. Just for the time being. But if it looks like it's going to go the other way, well, I'm short. I'm short here. So, hey, come up, take that out. Ooh, I'll take this one out too. That's what I can say about JPY. It's a little overextended on the video. Thanks for tuning in, though. Discord is available in the description down below. It's just a chat program where we just spend a little time talking about charts, and most of this stuff will be in there. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. And thanks for sticking through this video. I hope you find yourself on the profitable side of the trade. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.